Hello everyone and welcome to another impressive game from the Challenger section of the Biel Chess Festival. This is the third video I'm already showing from this event and the third video of Vaishali's well, you guys really enjoyed the two previous ones and the games really are out of this world, especially this one. It seems that each game I show is getting even crazier by the move, and this one, the variation that I will ask you to find, it was not spotted in the game, but if any of you find this variation, you could very well be hiding a true champion within yourselves, and probably could achieve a lot in chess if you actually picked it up seriously. So let's check it out. Ihor Samunenkov versus Vaishali. Ihor, I'm pretty sure this is the first time I'm featuring him on the channel. A 15-year-old Ukrainian grandmaster. Last year, he got his grandmaster title at the age of 14. Was the youngest grandmaster in the world. Not the youngest to ever become a grandmaster, but he was just currently the youngest grandmaster in the world last year. So pretty cool stuff. Now let's check it out. Ihor with white opens with knight to f3. We have knight to f6, countering the reti with areti. We have c4, pawn to c5, and knight to c3. We have e6 and pawn to g3. So transposing into the three knights of the English, fianchettoing the light square bishop. We have pawn to d5, captures, and pawn to d4. We have knight to c6, and bishop to g2. So this is a very explored territory, transposing again into the Tarrasch defense, into the Rubinstein Prague variation. C captures, we have knight captures and bishop to c5, knight to b3 attacking the bishop, bishop to b6, and castles. And again, a very well known position. D4 is the move you really want to play here, and that is what Vaishali does. And it has been played before by some very strong players. For example, Dubov played it against Nakamura, Firuzja played it against Dubov played it against Magnus Carlsen, Alireza played it against Nakamura, Caruana played it against Levon Aronian. So it has been seen in elite chess. We have knight to a4, castles, and now bishop to g5, pinning the knight here, rook to e8, and rook to e1. We have pawn to h6, chasing away the bishop, but bishop captures on f6. We have queen captures, and knight captures on b6. A captures, and now a move you wouldn't expect, but it is aimed at winning the d4 pawn. It's the top move recommended by the engine. Some might, think it's weird. Some might think it's very strong, but it involves giving up the light square bishop. It just looks weird to win back the pawn, but again, if you don't do it, this pawn is just looking very scary. It keeps this pawn at e2. You cannot advance the pawn. You could very easily have a passed pawn very soon, so it does make sense to capture it. So yeah, if you enjoy the line, I guess you play it. But also why I added the clock times for this game. If you look at Ihor's clock time, he's spending 0 time here. You start with 2 hours, he has 1 hour and 57 minutes. It's move 15, so he knows all of this by heart. Vaishali also knows it, but she did spend some 15 minutes getting to this position. So okay, bishop captures on c6, strongest move. It has been played before. B captures, queen captures on d4, offering a queen trade, and Vaishali declines, or rather offers a queen trade, but on d8, so she gets her rook on the open d file. Queen to c3, avoiding the trade while attacking the c pawn, and pawn to c5. We have rook 8 to d1, and again, we reach that point that we've already discussed. Magnus Carlsen did have this position against Daniil Dubov in the World Blitz Championship of 2019, and Dubov played queen to e7, and Dubov lost that game. Now, interestingly, queen to e7 and queen to c7 are the two top moves recommended by the engine. Dubov went queen to e7, Vaishali goes queen to c7. And okay, the game continues, but it's still not a new position. We have knight to c1, again, you can see not burning time really, bishop to a6, and now we have pawn to f3. And pawn to f3 is Ihor's first actual real move of the game, where he invested some time, as he spent some 20 minutes on this move. A little bit less, maybe 15. So okay, he wants to play pawn to e4, free up the df2 square perhaps for his king. We have rook to e7, preparing to double up on the e-file perhaps, and also adding more support to the 7th rank. And now there is a game where king to f2 was played, but here we have pawn to e4, and it is now as of move 22 that we have a completely new game, also it took him quite some time to get to this point. So even though he was blitzing out all of the first moves, now he has less time than Vaishali. We have rook to d8, claiming the d file, and knight to d3. And okay, you might consider a lot of things here, but Vaishali actually goes for the trade. Now, it's a very interesting position. Ihor is up a pawn, but Vaishali does have a bishop for a knight, and it's an open game with play on both sides of the board, so you could say that the bishop is stronger than the knight. But if the knight occupies a very strong square, for example, you get the you get the knight, let's say to f4, you get the knight to d5. That could be a problem for Vaishali. So she decides to trade everything. Bishop captures, rook captures on d3, queen captures, and now rook to d7. So okay, she gives up the bishop for the potentially strong knight, and she will also double up on the d file, and gaining control over the d file for the rest of the game is very, very important here. We have queen to e2, and now queen to d8. So time on the clock relatively equal. Queen to f2, preparing to meet rook to d2 with rook to e2, as there is no good way to stop the advancement of the rook to the second rank. Rook to d2, we have rook to e2, and rook to d1 check. We have king to g2 and queen to d3. So okay, how do you advance? Pawn to f4. Ihor is still up a pawn, and he would of course very much enjoy capitalizing on that. Pawn to b5, maybe you can push these pawns, play c3, create a pass pawn this way. King to h3. King to h3, I believe, is just maybe a waiting move, maybe also just getting the king out of any possible checks if you move the rook from the second rank, but I think at this point it was maybe just an idea of repeating the position, but I could be wrong. We have king to h3 and now pawn to f5. Vaishali goes after the white king, and he invites Ihor to create a pass pawn with pawn to e5. This is the best way to play, and so he does, pawn to e5, and now the move that objectively is best, and the only move that white can play, that black can play not to lose the game, is queen d4. Queen d4, the queens either get traded off the board or white declines the queen trade, and the game continues. However, here Vaishali played pawn to g5. It is the move that I wanted to show you. It is the reason why I'm showing you this game, and it is the move from the thumbnail. It's I mean, such a disgusting engine line. You guys will absolutely love it, and especially if you find it yourselves, feel free to pause the video and try to find the only way for white to win the game while I give you a couple of seconds. So, for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding one of the coolest variations that was never played. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is pawn to e6, boldly inviting pawn to g4 check. And other than that, you really don't have a move here with black. Look at this, pawn to g4 check. Now, what can white do here? Of course, you cannot go back. If you go back, queen d5 check, and you resign. The rook covers the back rank, the pawn covers this. You can start giving up material, and that's it. So what you have to do is boldly go forward. King to h4, and now how do you continue the attack? How do you hunt the white king down? Well, queen to d6 looks like a move. If you deliver a check, then pawn to e7, and black just loses. The next move, you get a queen. But queen to d6 is very sneaky. Now you're threatening queen to e7 check, and also if e7, you have queen to f6 check. So it looks like white is just dead here. Not really. King to h5. And okay, what is next? Queen to e7. We stop the pass pawn, and we go after the white king somehow in the next move, but here comes the real shocker. Queen captures on c5. You temporarily give up your queen, and there is nothing for black to do here. If you capture the queen, then e7, and you get a queen on the next move. The rook is helpless to stop the advancement of the pawn. You will have to give back the queen, but the rook endgame is also now hopeless for black. You will either checkmate the black king, or you will just start capturing all of this, and it's completely winning for white. So what you can maybe do after queen captures on c5 is not accept the queen sacrifice, go queen to e8 with check, but now king captures on h6, and look at this. There is no way for black to continue this game. There are zero moves you can play here that make sense. e7 is coming next, and there's nothing you can do. For example, rook to h1, e7, black has no moves here. I mean, it's such a beautiful position. I don't remember if we've had some crazy positions over, you know, the past few years. I've covered more than almost 4,000 games, so maybe it's not the craziest one, but you know, it's definitely out there with the best of them. Pawn to e6 here, absolutely spectacular. But unless you're an engine, or unless you know it's there, unless you know you're looking for something, I guess you don't find this. Ihor played f captures on g5. And now Vaishali is back in the game. She plays pawn to f4. And now e6, while still impressive, queen to f5 check counters that very nicely. It's nothing more than a draw, but no more victory for white here. Queen f5 check, queen d5 check, and it's a draw by repetition. So g5, f captures on g5, like we said, pawn to f4. Now g captures on h6. I guess Ihor decided to play this for a win. He played g captures on h6. You can hold this, like I said, with e6 or rook to e1. It's still possible. But after g captures on h6, now the position is winning for Vaishali. She plays queen to f5 with check, and now the problem is if you go back, then the problem is pawn to f3 check. You will have to capture, otherwise you lose material, captures, and now you just deliver a check to get the king off the defense of the white queen. King f2, rook f1, you will sacrifice the rook and pick up the white queen. So after queen to f5 check, g4 was played, but now the third rank opens up. Rook to d3 with check, king to h4, and now queen to f8. It's the only move that wins, but not too difficult one to spot. The threat is queen captures on h6 checkmate, and now comes king to g5. And all of a sudden, things are not that clear. There is only one winning move here for Vaishali. Feel free to pause the video and win the game while I give you a couple of seconds. The move you were looking for is king to h7. It is the only move that wins and the only one that prevents any sort of perpetuals, because if the white king comes to g6, then you have trouble not only checkmating the white king, but also finding a check that can be used for something. So king to h7, and now you prevent any nasty stuff here. Just to give you an idea, if you play something like rook to h3, it looks very nice. Okay, you go after the pawn here, queen captures on f4, and there's nothing. Look at this, queen captures on h6 check, king f5, the white king escapes all of a sudden, e4 is the idea, and you're gonna have to settle again for a nice perpetual here. So that's the real danger. But after king h7, there is no more escape for the white king. Queen to h4 was played, as this was now the threat, and now pawn to f3. Attacking the rook, rook f2, queen to e7 with check. Now you have to go to h5, otherwise the white queen is lost. King to h5, and now just queen to e8 with check. And he was in this position on move 40 that Ihor Samunenkov resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Only one more move for the white king, king to g5, but now queen captures on e5 comes with checkmate. These two squares are cut off, and when you have a check and the king cannot go these two squares, it is of course checkmate when you go after the king. This is covered by the king, this is covered by the pawn, so nowhere to go. So yeah, after queen to e8 check, he resigned, as there is nothing more to be done here. But what a crazy game, what a crazy game. And this position after g5 was played, I mean, such a moment, such a missed opportunity for Ihor. But I mean, we'll show it once again really quickly. G4 check, you have to go up the board, then you have to go up the board, then you sacrifice your queen, and okay, now once you find all of this, now you realize that the white king is actually the attacker here, and the black queen isn't really doing all that much. But yeah, if you don't find this one, great attack by Vaishali, and she manages to get a full point. And not only that, out of her last 6 games in this tournament, she won 5 of them, only lost 1 to Salih Salem, and she overtakes him as the new leader. I will check that. I don't want to trick you guys. Let me just check that real quickly. Yeah, Vaishali leading the tournament, Salih Salem in 2nd place. Amazing stuff. Out of her 6 games, 5 victories. Really incredible stuff. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Big congratulations to those of you who found Ponte e6, and not just the move, but the following line as well. I wish you have an excellent weekend and, many great things to happen to you because, I mean, what a line. Hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Kevin O'Grady, Rajashri Chowdhury, James Eugene Cashman, BulletChessThriller.com, and Peter Ibilik for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.